Hey, and welcome to Fit with Turo Fitness Podcast, a podcast for people who want to get no BS information about fitness and know that fitness is about so much more than losing scale weight. It's about feeling confident in your skin and empowered in your life. I'm your host, Turo Virta, personal trainer, strength and nutrition coach, and most of all, a husband of my beautiful wife, Miriam. Each week, my guests and me will give you some no BS fitness tips and motivate you to take action in your own personal fitness journey as we talk about nutrition, exercise, mindset, personal development, and executing in life with enjoyable but still effective strategies. If your goal is to look better, feel and be strong and experience transformation from inside out, you, my friend, are in the right place. Thank you for jumping in, and now let's jump into today's episode. So, Alan, welcome again to my podcast, and excited to hear about you. And I just start recording because I feel like that if we are talking something what is going on, we miss always some good parts. So first, thank you again for coming to my podcast and how you are doing.
I'm very good. Just been really busy since end of September as all the classes are starting again. So it's probably same for you. It's getting busy again after summer.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, it's busy now. When we are recording this, it's a holiday week, so it's a bit easier week, what was well needed. But then from next week, everything starts again. So it's a short break and doing some other things I enjoy, as well as having these kind of conversations. So you wanted to talk about topic about variety in training, and that is something like very, very interesting topic. So what came to your mind from this topic, why you wanted to talk about it?
It's probably a little bit more of a complicated process I went through myself, because I always offer that outdoor training and indoor training for classes. And for me, the variety of the exercises was always really important. And obviously at the beginning, let's say for one muscle group, I always had maybe 2 or 3 different variations of exercises. But then I made a 10 plan sheet, okay, first exercise, let's say for the lat and the biceps is the regular row. And then there's the pull up. And so for every exercise, there's 10 different variations how I could train those muscle group. And it's also because many people, when you do a coaching license, even though I think many coaching licenses are doing a very good job, they only teach you the very basics, basically the push pull, horizontal, vertical, push pull for the legs. And that's that's the exercises you have to do. And then it's yeah, but that's not really how the body works. The body, the functionality of the body is really way more complicated. So you have to work a lot more alternate exercises. So where the body moves in different directions all the time, because when we're walking, we're not jumping. We're walking, the left leg is doing the opposite than the right leg. So, and actually training should look way more like that in a regular basis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's a very, very true, and it's so interesting topic, and that's why I wanted to go a little bit deeper about this. This is something what I personally try to implement in my workouts, having some kind of variety, but still not changing too much things that, because you gotta keep something also working for the same muscle groups and not just random choosing exercises from YouTube or something, because that is something what everybody could do themselves. And of course you can still do it, but there have to be always some kind of thinking process behind. But before going too deeper, we recorded a podcast earlier. I forgot to ask in the beginning, I'm sorry. So tell a little bit about yourself first, if somebody is listening, that who the hell is this guy and why I should listen to him. So tell a little bit shortly about yourself.
So my name is Alain Kohl. I'm 42 years old. I have been a professional cliff diver for about 14 years. I just retired last year in my professional career. And in the last 10 years, besides I was a semi-professional cliff diver for 4 or 5 months a year, and the other 6 or 7 months a year I was mostly a personal coach and a group fitness coach. Also doing a little bit of strength and conditioning. I did a lot of sport-specific sports at the time. I did parkour, I did diving, coaching. I still do a little bit of diving and trampoline, but my main business has always been like personal training and fitness.
Yeah, thank you. And where you are based?
I'm based in Austria, in Tyrol, so close to Innsbruck. I'm originally from Luxembourg, but I moved here like 14 years ago.
And what about then your at the moment? Obviously, you have a family, and what you are doing now personally after your career, professional career?
I have 2 kids. I'm married. We have a really nice family here, and I think like probably like every professional athlete after his career, I was a little bit lost in my life with my goals. And especially like as an extreme sport athlete, I really feel that I'm lacking the adrenaline.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to find other sports where I could like push my adrenaline but not kill myself at the same time. Because I'm obviously, when you do this like cliff diving, the very, very high level. I mean, I was competing for Red Bull for 14 years. So it's the highest level you can compete. Like, you know exactly what you're doing and you know exactly how safe you are in this area. But if I'm trying another extreme sport, I would push myself and get into a really dangerous place very fast. So I'm trying to be a little bit safer in that area.
Yeah, no, and it makes totally sense. Like, with the 42, I'm also 42. So at this age, I feel myself that now it's like, when you were doing some things, like you still like that your mind is still want to do extreme, compete with yourself and push your limits. But then on the other hand, like I'm in a phase, I'm thinking that, do I really need it? Like, is it okay? And for me, I played professionally ice hockey. I'm still ice hockey referee in top level. So that's kind of transformation for me, was to still kind of be in that competition in what I'm used to, but it's still like that. It's not anymore like that. I don't have any more goals, like where I had some achievements as a referee. Ice hockey referee, was in world championships, officiated in top leagues in Austria, in Italy. So kind of at this point, I'm like that. Okay, I never had any goals being as a referee, but what I have achieved, I have basically achieved everything what I know, and now I know that it's like professional career or career as a referee I'm not going to make any huge improvements or steps anymore. So it's basically now just enjoying what I do, and still, of course, trying to make the best possible performance every single night. But there's no more goals that I want to be a professional or make a career. It's just basically because I still enjoy it, and it's some form of exercise. What is my passion, being part of ice hockey family and that sport. So that's but I had it too. It was very hard. I was 30 when I retired, so 10 years ago, or like more than 10 years ago, from professional ice hockey player. And it was, for me, that was very hard times. Like, I missed it first couple of years. Like, I didn't miss practices or anything, but when it comes to games and something, you see somebody else playing, and then I was there like that. I would do this and this and this, and then kind of thinking that, would I still be able to do it? And that was kind of hard to give away, and then finding something else like that. What is then? What is next? Because if that has been your whole life for a very, very long time, it's not easy to find something. And that for me was the transfer, was to become then coach and become a referee, that have been helping in that kind of transformation. And now I'm looking some other ways. Like, I don't know how about you? Are you still competitive like with everything what you do, or are you missing that adrenaline, or what is the biggest thing what you are kind of missing, or what you think that you would still love to do?
Um, it's probably a little bit like you. Like last year, I think I talked a bit about the process I went through at the end of my career in the other podcast. But
Uh-huh.
like I knew last year it will be my last, it would be my last season. And then I got injured on the World Cup, which was actually qualified for the World Championship. And it was a 2 day competition, and it was the first day I got injured.
Hmm.
And so I had to pull out of the competition. I shared an Airbnb with three other divers. So I couldn't actually bother them with my, oh, fuck, my career's over and blah, blah, blah. And so the first 24 hours, I was completely alone with this decision because it was in the States. So it was a different time zone. I couldn't talk to my wife. I couldn't talk to any friends. I couldn't bother the other divers because they were still in like competition mode. And that was like the hardest 24 hours in my life. I
Hmm.
think I slept like 3 hours that night because I was like, my brain was just like,
Hmm.
oh man, this process that you're like, you dedicated your life the last 15 years for this is over.
Uh-huh.
Um, but then like I came home, I went through some phases, but what I'm really missing, like in cliff diving, obviously a lot of people see us and they think like we're crazy, we are like adrenaline junkies. Uh, we're not crazy. We're definitely adrenaline junkies, but you train for this perfection in the dive. You train it to the very like last bit, and like that, I'm missing that a lot. Like you
Hmm.
have to train, and then like like you step on the game, like game day, you step on, and you're like, okay, it's time to perform. It's time to show what you learned. And it's like that's I'm missing a lot. Like, okay, you have to show what you can do. You have to show what you're capable to do, and I'm missing that a lot. Like
Hmm.
that nerves, that like that adrenaline rush in your body. Okay, you have to perform. There's no way out. And
Hmm.
that's like I really love that. Always in high diving, 10,000 of people watching you, and but I mean, there's other stuff coming in life, so I'm
Yeah.
good. I'm still involved in the International Swimming Federation, so working with them. I'm in the athletes committee, so trying to give something back to the athletes to stand up for them if they have trouble. I'm also traveling to the World Championships to be an official at the events. So at least I can
Nice.
basically be there, share my experience with them. I'm currently working with a physiotherapist on the study we want to do about the injury prevention in high diving, because I'm also a strength and conditioning coach. So I'm trying to be in the sport. As much as I have time.
Yeah.
It's there's a lot of other stuff going on in life.
Yeah.
And just 3 months ago, or just before the summer in June, I decided to make my own coaching license, because I worked so much in different coaching license as a ref, as like coaching for coaches, and I realized that a lot of stuff is missing,
Hmm.
like especially the practical advices, like because in 10 years of practical stuff, I learned so much stuff on the clients that I never heard in like an advanced coaching class, and I'm like, okay, that's definitely something you should mention in the coaching class,
Hmm.
like the typical problems. What are the like 95% of the problems your regular clients will have, and how
Yeah.
can you like work with them? So
Yeah.
there's like, yeah. So I have a pretty big plan on that. It took a while to find that goal to offer that coaching class, but now I'm pretty much full on that.
No, that's amazing, and I totally get it. Like it's somehow like you can make like I when I started coaching too, I was thinking too like to make as many kind of certifications as possible, and then when I think back like that, what is where I have learned the most is still through the experience and through working with the clients, of course, doing mistakes at some point, like especially in the beginning of the journey, and you think, or at least I was thinking like that. Now I kind of figure it out. I know pretty much everything, and then we're like that. Holy shit, I don't know basically anything, and
Yeah.
it's that kind of like that. Kind of how that evaluation is going, and I still remember vividly when one of my coaches told that when you do programming, that if you look back programs what you have been doing, and if you look like 5 years ago what kind of programming I was doing for my clients, and I look back now, I was like that, holy shit, I would never ever use that program anymore. Like, because of course you learn something new. Maybe it was not like nobody got hurt. It was not bad programming, but you could be doing it so much better. And that is like something what all certifications are not going to teach you. And this is that kind of evaluation, how you work as a whatever area you are working. It's not only in fitness, it's I think in all areas in life. And if you that it's consistent learning and trying to improve where you are.
Exactly. And that's like always the thing I say to myself. Like, if you look at the programs you did 5 years ago and you would do the same, that's definitely a sign you didn't learn anything in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So even myself, when I look at the plans I did a couple of years ago, oh my God. So, but yeah, I think that's also an evaluation, because like obviously the plans were not bad 5 years ago, but you want to give the best value to your clients, because okay, he has this goal, he has this much amount of time, he has this and this constraints in his training because he's a little bit limited here, blah blah blah. So obviously, like, I tell the coaches and my clients, like, coaching is really easy, but it's also the most complex job you can have. Because if you, like, I always tend to show negative examples, but as not a coach, I know, like, when I see his personal training, he goes to the computer, does print, same plan, 34 sets in one plan, 3 sets of each exercise. Like, everybody has to do squats, everybody has to do sumo squats, everybody has to do deadlift. It doesn't matter if you're like 16 or 75. Like, oh, this is your schedule, do it. And at the end, this is like always a super set of planks. And I'm like, oh, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So even though I don't want to give any harm to anybody, but it's like, man, that's not how coaching works. Like, where's the individuality, like, of your client? Where's your assessment? Or like, how do you like plan the assessment into the training? Obviously, I mean, for me, the first personal training is the assessment. Like, when people ask me, oh, can you do me a program? And I'm like, yeah, like, I don't do one program. Like, either we work 5 sessions together, that's the minimum, or we work 10 sessions together. Like, and then we can work. Because like in one session, I can write you a schedule, but I don't know if it's a good schedule for you, like a good plan for you or whatever, because like I know nothing about you.
Yeah, that's it's all about the background information, injuries, training history, what is realistic time available, or like often, like at least I feel now, like I was a good story. I love to tell this story. Like in the beginning of my career, like usually when people are coming to contacting for a coach, they are motivated, and especially if you do like a program is costing the same amount of money, and it doesn't matter like if you decide to work out 7 times a week, or if it's a 1 session per week. And somehow I feel like that, people, they want to get most out of their money, what they are paying for coach. And then they think that now I got to work out at least 5 times a week, because otherwise if I work out 2 times a week, it's I'm kind of wasting my money, and it's not worth of it to get a coach. And in the beginning, I remember vividly one woman contacted me and said that she haven't been very active, haven't been doing anything for the past couple of years, and said that now she's really motivated. She wants to get started 5 times a week, 6 times a week training. And I was like that, seeing already as a young coach, like some kind of at the time was a big thing, and I think it still is like before after pictures. And I took the plan, did a workout plan 5 times a week, and of course now I at the time it was like I think 2 weeks that the client did everything, of course, sore like hell, couldn't move anything. And then after 2 weeks, I didn't hear anything from that client anymore. And I was thinking that, oh, that was she was not just motivated. It was not she couldn't hold it, and kind of blaming my client for not doing the work. And then now when I think it like that, that's 100% on me. Like if
Yeah.
I put someone who haven't been active or doing anything, working out 5 times a week, it's 2 weeks is even long to hold that kind of schedule. And now I would never say. I said that maximum is maybe 3 times a week, maybe 2 times a week, and shorter sessions to get started. And then first goal is always to get keep promises what you make to yourself. And if it doesn't matter how small those promises are. For the first 30 days, for the first month, you work out 2 times a week or 3 times a week. Keep those promises what you make to yourself. And after that, if you still feel like that you could be doing more, or you are not seeing enough results, then it's time to start adding things, but not in the beginning, like doing kind of thinking that all or nothing mindset, or perfect, becoming perfect, what is ideal amount of time. So rather starting a bit less than too much. And that's one of the biggest lessons I learned through the mistake in the beginning of my coaching career.
Yeah, but I mean that's uh I think you probably work the same way in that, like myself. Like you at the beginning you're really motivated, and then you have one or two clients where you experience stuff like this, and then okay, you think about this process, okay, maybe that was not perfect, like how I coached her. Like maybe next time if I get another client that
Absolutely.
comes with the same ideas, like okay, let's talk about 2 times a week and maybe
Yeah.
3 times, like well,
Yeah.
let 2 times strength, 1 time cardio, and then we work our way up. So we kind of learn with the process.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah. No,
I think
absolutely.
that's really important, because I had the same client. I remember I had one client, like for me it was a very strange situation. It was because we did a lot of strength training in our life. Actually our exercises look very clean. I guess your
Mm-hmm.
squat looks really bam bam, like really strict, up down, no knees movement, nothing. So he came to me, 30 years old, like he could not do a squat with keeping his feet on ground. Like
Mm-hmm.
his heels would always go up. And I tried, like when in 1 hour I tried everything to teach him to keep the heels on the ground. Didn't work. But he came
Mm-hmm.
only one time to me. He never came back. And I'm like, okay, maybe I overcoached him because I did 1 hour of squats with him. So
Mm-hmm.
probably I just like overcoached him. And he's like, oh man, this dude, what is this coach doing? Like
Mm-hmm.
squatted, coaching me one exercise in 1 hour. Because every time he did squats, I'm like, keep your heels down. Try this, try this, try this. And I'm like, after this, I thought like, okay, maybe that was way too much. So
Mm-hmm.
so I'm trying to give like small tips. I'm not trying to correct too much. I'm
Yeah.
trying more like giving like small advice. Try to do a little bit more of this. Try
Mm-hmm.
to do a little bit more of this. Or try, here's a little help. Try to do the exercise with that. And then just like keeping like, let's say, giving the people the feeling they're doing it right,
Yeah.
and helping them to experience the exercise better. Because
Yeah.
like some I when people come to me in like my group fitness class, always when there's like nine new people in the class, I always tell the people like, I'm the kind of coach that explains almost nothing, but that's on purpose because I want you to explore the exercise on yourself. Like we're not moving big weights, like nobody gives anything about how your form looks, because you
Mm-hmm.
cannot harm your body with the weight we're working.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm, and then like, okay, let's do a squat, and the person does really, really bad exercise. And I'm like, even if I don't have to like intervene straight, I'm just trying, hey, keep your chest a little bit more up. Try to keep your heels on the ground. Try to stand a little bit wide. I'm just going like step by step and teaching them, and then asking them, how does it feel now? Oh, it feels a little bit better. It feels like I can move more weight.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there we're getting. So I'm trying to give the people the own sensation of the exercise. Because if I tell the people like, oh, squat, you have to do this, I talk for 10 minutes and then they are allowed to do the exercise.
I
I mean,
still don't
where,
get it.
yeah, and where's the learning process for them? Like
Yeah.
they have to experience like with ice skating. Like you cannot ice skate like when you have like a 1 hour theory and then you go on the ice and you have to do race, or
Yeah.
like do an ice hockey match. You have to go on the ice and experience on the own.
Yeah. Yeah. That's those are so powerful lessons what we learn, and how I think in life it's not only in fitness how you the way if you are in a kind of teaching job or something, how you express yourself, what kind of phrases you are using. If you tell all the time, don't do, don't do, don't do, like it's just the small things, how you talk to people, like that, try instead of this, instead of saying that, no, you are doing it wrong. Like it changes, or giving some positive feedback first and then coming into a point what you actually want to tell. So those are like really small things. What makes, in my opinion, huge difference in from the experience of coaching and the way how people think it. Like it's same for me. Like if somebody is like, we have in a hockey refereeing, there is some kind of supervisor who is evaluating, giving you tips, and of course we all persons, they are different, and if somebody is coming after a game, just focusing on mistakes, I'm like that. What the hell? Was it really that bad? But if
Mm-hmm.
you start with positive things, like 5, 6 positive things, even they were not, then you find something, and then you come to the point what you actually want to tell. And I find that, at least for me, that kind of type of coaching is working so much better than focusing only on mistakes, because for most people, we only
Yeah.
see mistakes. Like that's why it's a good example with those workouts. What I tell to people, like that, if you are not sure if you should start with the 3 or 2 workouts per week, how you think, how you are going to feel about yourself. If you aim for 3 workouts, you are able to do 2 workouts. Most people, like myself included, we are feeling guilty about that one missed workout, what we didn't do. But if we aim for 2 and we end up doing that third session as an extra session, how fucking proud of we are about
Yeah.
ourselves when we are doing actually something extra. And it was not expectation. So it's just lowering those your own expectations, what you put for yourself, and then it's such a different experience, the way how you feel about yourself.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So let's talk about variety of training. So that's something like what like you mentioned. It's that there is so many benefits of trying things. Like I would probably not say that trying to do every single workout something different, because that is, for me, that is already too much variety, and that is like probably too much. But what other benefits you find with the variety of training? Like what is there, like a physiological benefits? What other benefits there are?
I totally agree with you on the first point. Like you should not do different workouts every week or every workout, but you should definitely, like in the time span of 6 to 8 weeks, you should do some variety of
Mm-hmm.
exercises. I mean, the benefits are really clear. Like when we look at the adaptations of an exercise in your body, let's say you start with a squat. Let's stick to that example, and you do it like, and then we take the squat over a span of 6 weeks. You do two times squats a week. Like in the first 3 weeks, the gains in your muscle, or the gains of the extra weight or the extra repetitions you're going to do, is not due to more muscle mass, but it's more due better coordination, because your brain has a better connection to your muscles.
Mm-hmm.
And that's always like a point where I see many coaches are lacking, because like, man, like let's take the really big example to let's go to the gym, and we have 2 different guys. One is a really big, strong guy, and one is a really skinny guy. They do the same deadlift, like let's say 200 kilos, which is a proper deadlift. And I'm like, the big guy, when the big guy comes in, they're like, okay, this guy can do a 200 kilo deadlift. Yeah, but I have 80 kilos. I'm 165 or 168. I can still do a 200 kilo deadlift. It's not because I'm stronger, but obviously also because I'm stronger, but also because my coordination is better, because my brain has better connection to a muscle than the big guy. Because the big guy, like compared to me, you should be able to do 250 kilo deadlift.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what still a lot of people are lacking in training. A lot of coaches are lacking, because like the coordination, I always take an example from Star Wars. Like your coordination is like a small Lego set. You start with, when you get born, you are able to breathe, you're able to eat and everything else. And everything you learn, every movement you learn, is another Lego part you put on that big death death planet. And then the more you learn, the better you get. The better you have, the easier you can do a connection with anything else. And when you build that Death Star, like, oh, pullovers, yeah, I did the regular movement that feels like a pullover. So you can connect it with something you already did in your life, which is not only important for training to move big weights, to have variety in training, but also to promote yourself in regular life, like to have variety in training, to have fun in training, and to be strong in the very long term.
Yeah, no, I love using variety, like you mentioned, strength training. Like first of all, like a different type of, like you do some type of resistance training. Like that is something what I always recommend. Like it doesn't matter. Like it's not probably the most stupid thing what you could be doing. Like it's not the most stupid, but it's the least effective if you do use a plan like you mentioned before. There is a coach, you go to at the gym, you get the same paper for each person. There is going to be 3 sets of exercise, 10 repetitions, and 15 or 34 sets per workout. And then next month you get the same paper again, 10 repetitions, maybe different exercises, and then you repeat that same kind of 10 to 8 to 12 repetitions for month after month, every time 3 sets, maybe different exercises. And I feel that kind of coaching or programming is at some point it's going to get so boring. It's going to get that you are going to hit some kind of plateau, because anyways, longer you are strength training or doing this exercise thing, slower that progress is going to be. And for me, like that variety part, it makes what I do for myself, and I love to plan it for my clients too, is that focusing, taking like obviously in a group workouts, it's a bit different, as there, you can plan for let's say 3 or 6 months ahead. Like that is kind of a bit different approach. But especially for online coaching clients who are going to gym or working out from home, I love to take a kind of a 3-month block and focusing on one single goal or maybe 2. And then for the next 3-4 months, focusing again different goal and using kind of different type of strength training programs. Sometimes it's just using bands. Sometimes it's just using suspension trainer. Sometimes it's focusing more on like kind of single joint exercises, doing like and some months it's just a different kind of, like maybe focusing on your athletic performance and focusing on getting stronger, or just a basically like bodybuilding program or powerlifting program. So these kind of things, like there's so much variety also in strength training, how you can use it. And that for me, like especially at least like month after month, what I love to use, like focusing like 1 month using maybe heavier weights, focusing on less repetitions. Next month, chasing those kind of amount of reps, how many repetitions you are doing. Like other good way, what I found out is to use the same variety within one workout. But the key is like to using different kind of repetitions. Sometimes it's focusing, you're doing just 5 repetitions, 4 repetitions with heavy weights. Sometimes you might need to do 15 repetitions with lower weights, but that kind of variety, I think it's essential for training. Like I said, for me, I love to use it like month by month, but it could be within one workout also. What is your take on this, for how you vary things on strength training?
It depends a lot on the personal client and obviously what his goals are, where he's at, how often he goes to the gym. But I'm pretty much on the same page. What I really see also in variety is like, let's say the bench press, as you mentioned it's like, okay, we can do like the bench press on the machine, which is really stable, which is really good on developing strong pecs, which is really nice. And then we have the next level, like the barbell bench press, which is already like a little bit less stable. You have to control your more shoulders. Then from that, we go to the dumbbell bench press, and from that we go on, let's say, a push up on the TRX. And so you have the different levels, and the coach has to know, like, you know, it like, okay, the TRX push up is definitely way more unstable. So he's never going to develop the pecs as good as he's going to develop on the barbell, or maybe in the machine even. But if he has trouble with the shoulder, like if he's in a rehab process, or he's like, oh man, I had a shoulder injury years ago, I need to work on my shoulder stability, like then the push-up on the TRX is really good exercise, because you have to actually, like, you have to engage the stabilizers in the shoulder. And that's like the variety where I really coach, like, okay, depending where he is, like, okay, at the beginning, I would probably go on the machine or the barbell, and then I would work him step by step to the push-up. And then I would probably go back to the barbell at some point, and then I say, I'm pretty sure the weight you did like 4 months ago with the barbell is now your warm-up weight, because now you're a lot stronger because you can engage your muscles better. So that's like a little bit my goal, like to push the functional anatomy of the body, like really like those alternate movements in the body, like because when we're walking, when we're breathing, everything works together, and it's like there's functional chains in the body. I'm a huge fan of that. So everything has to be in line, everything has to work together. So sometimes you can do like a bench press or like a chest press on the machine, like if you want to develop good pecs. And I do chest press at the moment, because chest press is one point where I feel, okay, I'm pretty weak compared to the rest of my body. I only do like 65, 70 kilo for 10 reps on my chest, which I think I do the same rowing. So I'm like, yeah, that's for row is pretty strong, but for chest is pretty soft. So I'm trying to develop my chest on that, but I'm also really good in unstable movements, because like, you know, in sport specific movements, you're always unstable. So the stability for me is already really good, but sometimes I'm having trouble to understand the instability for my clients, because like, okay, he's not there where I am. So I have to remind myself, okay, he's on a different point. And that's why it's a lot of like for shoulder stability, like the Turkish getter with the kettlebell, where you have to move your shoulder in the really almost like three-dimensional area. So I try to program a lot of stuff like this. Like, where's the client? What is his goal? What is his pains, where I can help him with like very specific movements, and then try to get him the best additional value in the training.
Yeah, it's like choosing that exercises. Like in the beginning of my career, I was kind of thinking like that how coaches are choosing those exercises, and then they were like, I was also like, I was looking YouTube some new exercises and look like fancy. Let's put this into the program. And now I'm thinking like that. Okay, there is always a reason why these exercises are in, what is the goal, what is the main purpose, and then you know, you have maybe couple exercises you could be choosing on, you decide to go with one, maybe next one it's going to be different. And but that is how even coaches, there's so many different opinions, and I feel like that it's there's like there's no right and wrong way. It's just a different type of way of seeing things and what you are doing. Like was telling that something is wrong. Like when you do something, it's always better than nothing. But if you what I would say that to taking that creating training programs, it's so complicated process. And of course,
if you want to do it right,
yeah, that there is so many
as good
aspects
as
what you
possible.
have to think, and of course you can get what is the first step is that you have some kind of program. That if you like, I see so many people like that they are following some YouTube workouts and you know, taking some random stuff. I said, okay, it's for sure better than nothing, but you could be seeing, and it's one of the hardest things for me is to try to convince somebody who have just started. They have been following their YouTube influencer and doing those workouts, have seen amazing results within the first 6 months.
Yeah,
And
but I
then,
mean, the results in the beginning, you always have good
yeah,
results when you
no,
didn't do anything.
that's what I wanted to come that. And then what often happens is that after 6 months, you hit kind of plateau. You don't see any more those results what you used to see, and then you are saying that what should I do now? Like that I have seen this amazing progress in the beginning, but then understanding that you are in love with that influencer from YouTube who provide you free workouts, and now at some point you are not seeing results anymore, and that is that kind of hard truth is that within the first 6 months, until you stay consistent, it basically doesn't matter that's what you are doing. It all comes then like that. More experience you have, more you have to pay attention about your programming, about sets, about volumes, about reps, all that
But
kind of stuff. Quality,
yeah,
what is their resting, nutrition, like there is so many aspects what matters for progress, and that is kind of the one of the hardest things I find,
yeah.
to
I'm
convince somebody who have seen amazing results and then hit the plateau.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I can share my thoughts about those influencers I had a while, or like even years ago. I always tell the people like, if he's really good at what he does, why should he give his knowledge for free?
Yeah.
Like, because what many influencers do, maybe they have a coaching license, maybe not, whatever, it doesn't really matter, but they always give like a solution to a very short problem, which is like, problems are way more complex than, oh, you have back pain, do this exercise. Oh, you want to get bigger, do this exercise. No, it's a little bit more than that. But they always like provide some value to get views, which is nice, but at the end, it doesn't really solve the problem in the long term, as you said. Like,
Yeah.
okay, it's gonna problem, like he can train that exercise for like 3 months, but then gonna hit the plateau. And then we have to talk, what is the rep? Well, how much weight do you work? How often do you do the exercise? How are your mechanics working in your body? Because you get no correction from a YouTube video. Like, how does your body work? Maybe you have like a constraint in your body that you're not even able to do that exercise properly. And obviously at the beginning, it's going to get you some gains, but in the long term, you always like should choose a coach. And there's like even some influencers on the internet, in the German speaking and even in the English speaking, they're giving some really good value, but at the end they're saving some value for their coaching. Because like, okay, they're talking about this stuff, they're explaining this stuff. There's some really good coaches I follow where even I learned a lot. Where like there's like some guys that explain the body, some people that explain hypertrophy in a really scientific way. But they're always like, if they say like, if you have more questions, you have to book a call.
Yeah.
Because that's the value I'm going to give you, and it's going to leave some questions open, but that's on purpose.
Of course, and it's still like a training program. Like I said, I feel like that to have first step is to have some kind of program, so you know exactly what to do. You have some kind of weekly plan, monthly plan, what you're supposed to do. That is the step number one. Then after that, to having some kind of like probably individualized program, what is based on like, I think in the beginning of when I started to put content into internet, I was filming some random exercises or looking random exercises to put into my routines. But now I think that it depends so much on person, like, and it should be like, even like, of course, there are some basic exercises, squats, deadlifts was what almost all people should do or can do. But then in the end, it's still so much individualized depending on your background history, what equipment you have access to, and so on. So it's there is hardly never some basic what is working one solution for everyone, and that's why those kind of YouTube workouts, like where because you should always ask yourself question what you are doing more. Are you adding repetitions? Are you adding resistance like weight or using heavier bands, or how you are going to improve? If it's just doing random exercises, you are not pushing yourself in the beginning, like we talked, you will see results, but it's going to stop or it's going to slow down anyway. And that's why when you need more advanced or more paying more attention about that program. So what is then
but one more thing about like the online coaching, or like the online influencer on YouTube. Like I'm always telling my clients, like I see what you're doing. I see your reason. It's cheaper, blah blah blah. Like you're getting a lot of good content. But what a professional coach is doing, it's your bullshit filter. Like you seeing so much information and you can barely handle those informations because you have no connections to that field. Like I have 10 years of experience in working as a coach. I have 20 years of experience in training myself. I just started my 11th advanced coaching class. Like if you don't have 10 years of experience in coaching, they tell you don't do it because you will not understand it. So it's really like I see an exercise and I can tell you right away, is this a good exercise for you? Yes or no. Like compared to what is your body able to do after the first session? Like, okay, where's your problems? Where's your here? Where's it there? And it's like the money is always going to pay. And as you said, you're going to hit the plateau after 2-3 months, and then your progress is almost zero. And then you need variety to get further, to promote the functionality of your body. Like maybe this person has a problem to pronate his feet, to supinate his feet or whatever. Like that's why he's not getting deep into a squat position. And then if you don't have a coach, like, okay, we can use some wedges or whatsoever to get you into a better squat. You can do this exercise in the warm-up to promote the pronation, which is going to do your dorsal flexion of your foot better, blah, 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 blah. And that's what many people don't see, like, because they just like getting bits and bytes left and right. And they think, oh, okay, I get the pictures. Like it took me 10 years to get all these small bytes that I collect somewhere in a coaching class or collect somewhere in the training or in a YouTube video to put it all together where after 10 years, I'm slowly thinking, okay, maybe I do understand the body a little bit.
Yeah. And wait another 5 years. You think that, holy shit, how wrong I was 5 years ago.
Probably in 5 years, I'm canceling everything. I'm starting by zero again.
That's I learned not promise that I know something. I'm still learning and doing the best with the knowledge I have at the moment available.
Yeah.
So what is some practical strategies for to adding some variety to training? Like now we talked about already like using maybe different equipment, working out maybe for different goals, like trying to going for lower repetitions, higher weights, lower weights, maybe adding like what I'm a big fan of, also focusing at some point on cardio, putting that kind of on a main priority and putting maintaining strength, just making sure that you are not losing too much muscle mass during this process. And then maybe some other kind of strength training, how you can vary it with the equipment also. So what else strategies have?
What I do at the moment is do less sets of one exercise and do more different exercise. I do the same amount of sets in the workout, but I do more different workouts. But in every set, I'm going closer to the limit. Like really, I know my body really well, and I think I know really well where my limit is in every exercise. And I think everybody that trains for more than 3-4 years should know, like, okay, I can do bench press, squat, this amount of exercises, like repetitions in reserve, going as close as you can to the repetitions in reserve because it's going to give you the best gains. And then try experiment in your training. Like that's probably, I think I started like really by coincidence, like a year before Corona. And then in Corona, I did it even more because I had more time. And for the last 5 years, I've been experimenting in the training with low intensity, high intensity, hard weights, lower weights, more repetitions, less repetitions, different angles, complex movements, single joint movements. Like because in Corona time, I did online workouts for like 6-7 hours a week, group fitness. So I had to do all them, and it was via a YouTube live stream. So I didn't see my clients. So I had to do every exercise on my own and teach them. And I think that gave me such a deep understanding how the mechanics of the body work. And I was like, okay, why did an exercise burn there? And then went back to my research. Okay, well, like functional anatomy of the body. Why does this exercise burn more there than there? So I try to always, yeah, I think experimenting in the training is really important. Like if you're working like in the rep range 12 to 15 reps, your weight is not going to be that high that you're going to get injured. So if you respect some rules, obviously, that you try to work as proper as you can, like what's going to happen? But you're going to understand your body really well at some point. And then you're going to know your own program at some point. Okay, I feel that, maybe I should try that.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love to hear those kind of things like that. Like I said, I created kind of programs where what I do myself at the moment is I pick, usually it's a 3-4 months period of time, and focus one thing. Like within 3 to 4 months, I focus on one thing. Like it's within that time, it's always going to be some form of strength training, but it's sometimes I focus on balancing my body, doing single joint exercises. Maybe the next one it's just traditional strength programming. Maybe then next 3-4 months I focus on powerlifting, focusing on 2-3 big lifts. Maybe then month after that I focus on my athletic performance. What is then a lot of rotational stuff for ice hockey, and this kind of variation I find it so motivating. Like, or it's so much, because I'm a person, I get bored relatively easy. Like if it's 3-4 months, that's pretty okay. But even within those 3-4 months, there is a phase where I focus on maximum strength, like doing lower reps with higher weights. Next month it's going to be, let's say, 8 to 12 repetitions, and month after that it's going to be 12 to 15, for example. So there's always some kind of different variation of repetitions, and then when that 3 months is gone, I go for focusing on just, for example, for my cardio. So this way, like I feel like that within 1 year, or now it have been 2-3 years when I have been doing it, I see kind of so much difference, and it sucks a bit less, because I really don't enjoy. I gotta commit. I don't enjoy strength training. That is something
Yeah, you
like
said,
that I really have to force myself to get started. Like
yeah,
if somebody is asking me to play tennis or for a walk or playing ice hockey, I'm right away. When I just have a time, I don't need any motivation. But to go
yeah,
to do strength training, I'm a person who try to talk myself out of it all the time. But this way, when I add that kind of variation, focusing on different goals, shorter period of times, that have worked for me the best.
yeah. But I agree. There's like the rep range is also something really important, because like like in my strength training for diving, it was always like hypertrophying through the winter, and then like some max power in the spring, and then through the summer is like more like hypertrophy and some max power like mix to keep the gains and to keep them the strength. But at some point I got really bored of that, and I'm like, I skip it and I'll try something else. Now I do, like for my lower body, I do a HIIT training, like in high intensity interval. And it's for me something completely new, and it's so much fun. But I also tell the people, like, if you do new exercise, try to keep the rep range high. Not because of the danger, because you want to get to more like a muscle endurance. No, because you're going to do more repetitions, you're going to learn more from that exercise. Because if you do a completely new exercise, you only like 3-4 reps, like your learning experience is almost zero. But if you do like 15 reps and you do 3 sets of that, you have a good learning experience, because you did 45 repetitions. And then after a while, you can go down in reps because you want to work your strength. You want to test how much you can work, obviously. Yeah. So I totally agree. And it's like the rep range for hypertrophy, it's not that important. If you hit somewhere between 5 and 30 reps, but if you go really close to your limit, it doesn't really matter. So, but yeah, and what I always tell the people, like, training should be fun. That's for me one of the most important aspects. Like I understand your point, and I think many clients probably feel like that. And I think that's good that you you don't like strength training too much because maybe you can feel the clients better. I
Mhm.
love strength training, so I'm having a hard time to understand that sometimes when the people are, oh no, it's boring. I'm having a hard time to understand it because I love it. For me, it's
Yeah.
my wealth to too much energy.
Yeah. No, it's I love the benefits of it. I just don't enjoy the process. It's just that like but and that is something like what I always say, that you should do some form of strength training. Like that is like it doesn't matter that much if it's your body weight, if it's using bands or whatever, but especially when we age, like it was yesterday actually. I talked with one of my group session client, as her friend didn't come for a while, and I asked that if she have talked with her if everything is okay, and she said that yeah, she's just moving outside. She's going only for walks because she doesn't want to get too muscular. And
The
I
classic.
was like that, okay, that how I should address it, like that if you believe that we are using resistance bands, and she's used to come once in a week to sessions. If you believe that with that amount of strength training you are getting too muscular, I promise you that you won't. You won't. You are with one time in a week. You are, if you have a little bit, okay, if you are completely new, you might see some kind of results or progress. But for most people, one time in a week, you are maintaining what you have, especially if you are like over 40. So it's just you maintain your strength, and you might feel, of course, you have maybe more confidence, you feel stronger, but you are not going to gain some amazing, or you are looking like a bodybuilder or something. That is not going to
Yeah,
happen. So, but
yeah.
it's just that mentality of how normal people or regular people are thinking, and especially women. I have a feeling like that they should push themselves a lot more. And we are laughing in my group sessions. I always tell that use heavier bands. You are stronger than you believe. And they're like, no, but this feels already heavy. As no, you are try with the heavier one, and if it's too much, you can't do it with the proper form. Then I you can switch it again. And then they're like, okay, I try, and it's working, it's going. So it's it's just a one example
Hmm.
how most people think. And that gives me like other thing what is also for variety. What I love using is just that rotate those workout settings. Like it's if you have possibility to do something outside. Like I'm working out from home, so I have basically a gym in my garage. But at sometimes when there is a beautiful weather, I can take some dumbbells and go outside. So I'm in a sunlight and doing it, so it sucks again a bit less.
Yeah, I mean, if you have the possibility, obviously a lot of online clients, they either go to the gym or they train
Yeah,
at home. So
yeah,
you have to adapt a little bit to what they are able to do in their in their kind of level. But I get that argument, oh, I don't want to be too muscular. I get that a lot. And I think
mhm,
if you like, I think you reacted really well, like, oh, don't worry, like with a small mini band, it's not gonna happen.
yeah,
And if you tell the people like really like, hey man, or muscle mass is really important for you. It's
yeah,
actually like if you explain to people like it's the best prevention against diabetes, Alzheimer, even cancer, blah 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 blah. So
yeah,
it's really strong. A lot of muscle mass is really really important for getting old, getting healthy.
yeah,
And I think we need more to address the people. And then like, I mean, at some age, everybody comes to you like as like I say like if a client comes to you like 35 and older, they come to you and they already have some pain and aches in their body. And with strength training, I like there's like the typical saying, oh I had a muscle rupture, or I had a tendon rupture there, or I twisted my ankle and the doctor said it's never going to be as before. And I always tell the people, yeah, that's true. It's going to be better. Like, believe me, like I'm going to teach you exercises and you're not going to feel anything after that. Like if you do the exercises on the basis I tell you, like the injury is, you're not going to think about it. I mean, uh, I dislocated my clavicula. I had an ACL rupture. I have an Achilles tendon rupture. I had 2 disc herniations in the neck. I'm 42 years old and I have zero pain in my body. But when I don't train for 4 weeks, the pain starts. So obviously I do very specific exercises for all those body parts implemented in my training. But that's what I tell the people, like training is healing. Like I can show you exercises that are not, like, obviously, like if you have some pathologic problem in your body and you cannot fix it with training or therapy, you probably need surgery, whatever. But I can give you the guarantee, if there's like nothing pathologic in your body, like we can fix it to a certain level that you will not be like bothered every day with it. I have one client, I started working with him like 6 months ago. We see each other like every 3-4 weeks. And he went to his doctor because like one disc in his lower back like doesn't exist anymore. One side, his hip flexor was completely like very short and very tight. He has back pain, foot pain, Achilles tendon pain, neck pain. And he just like wrote me a message last week, Alain, I woke up in the morning and it's the first time in years that I have no pain.
Wow.
And I'm like, cool, apparently my training works.
Yeah.
But and then he said like, oh, thank you so much. I'm like, no, I just showed you what you have to do and you did the work. I just
Exactly.
like you did everything you had to do, and I showed you some exercise, and obviously I had to try with his back, with his Achilles tendon. I had to try 4 different 3-4 different exercises, because the first one, okay, do that for 3 weeks and then we see, it's still shitty, okay, fuck, we have to try find another exercise, maybe that works. And I have to teach him like also like stuff like, okay, in your regularly life as a musician coach, like he's in a very stupid body position the whole day, which like really promotes like a tight hip flex on one side, which gives him like a little bit of stupid position. Like, okay, you can't change that. But after, when you're done, you can do those 2 exercises. It's going to take 3 minutes to like loosen you up again. And I think that's what a lot of people don't really get yet, because like at the moment, like the physiotherapy is getting more active and active work. And when people understand, like after the physiotherapist, the next person that comes is a good strength coach. Like he's going to make you fit and pain-free and keep you pain-free. Like we're going to do our best. We can't guarantee anything, but we can try our best to do it.
And it's also like doing those, that's one of the things what I still want to talk. We are talking already hour, but try to keep it this short, that it's not getting too long. So one other things what you said, that to prevent all these pains, and something is kind of mobility work, flexibility work. What is still what I say, that at least it was for me, like I did kind of, I'm like you, born in 80s, that was all about stretching at the times. I didn't even know what is a mobility work. And now when I think that it's all about what kind of doing mobility, adding them into routines. You don't need to take one day for whole mobility work, but either doing within your warm-ups, between the sets, after your workout, part of cool down, like just 1-2 mobility exercises. That's going to help so much to prevent pain. Obviously work with a greater range of motion through exercises, which is also kind of mobility work. And that kind of things, they help so much to prevent that you are not getting pain, like, so that you don't need to go to physiotherapy or something. So that is for sure something what I was earlier. I was thinking like that kind of mobility work, it's not worth of it, because I don't get that feeling of that I had a good workout when I was going for a run, or I was doing strength training. You feel after workout, like, I had a great workout. And if you do mobility workout, okay, you feel a bit better, but it's not like that you get that same kind of dopamine, or I don't know if there is a dopamine or what you get into your brain. So you don't get that same kind of feeling with the mobility work. But this is for me, like if I could choose, or I need to choose most important exercises, it's going to be some form of resistance or strength training. It's going to be mobility, and of course then daily walking or some form of endurance training. But I personally prefer walking or some kind of low intensity
Yeah,
cardio.
I agree. Like if I have to choose like the perfect plan, let's say, I would definitely implement some cardio aerobic work. For me personally, I only do high intensity workouts because low intensity just kills me. It's like I don't have the time to go for a walk because of my two kids and my business and everything. I do a lot of high intensity. I try to go for a bike ride once or twice a week. Um, Strength training, obviously. I mean, in that I have a different approach, but I like your approach. Do some mobility. I do the mobility at the beginning to get into the mood of the training, and then like as I said, I work a little bit longer with my clients, and it's most of the time one to one. So I really like in personal training. So I look, okay, where's the trouble, and then I'm gonna try to implement the mobility into the strength training. So
Mm-hmm.
okay, we have a problem with this and this area of the body, so we're gonna do this exercise with a regular load, but try to go a little bit deeper into the
Mm-hmm.
exercise.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just a different approach.
Yeah, I know, and it's there is no right and wrong way how to do it. And it's just one way of doing some kind of course. What is the purpose of mobility training? It's to increase range of motion, and
Yeah,
if you do it as a dedicated work, like a part of your warm up or cool down, or even between the sets, if you have a longer rest time, you could be doing for 30 seconds or 1 minute some quick mobility exercise, or if you implement those within your workout routine that you are doing, like shoulder presses or whatever, like with as big range of motion as possible, it's basically the same thing.
yeah, it's the same outcome, but
Yeah.
maybe it's just from my experience in the group fitness. You barely have time. Like
Mhm.
you do like a 5 minute warm up, then you do like a maybe 5 7 minute like explanation of new exercises. You try to reboot the system, like okay, well, I want to try this again, and then you go into the workout, and then at the end you have like 5 minutes at the end.
Mhm.
Like, and then I really love breathing exercises at the end to calm down,
Mhm.
to get the nervous system a little bit lower. Um,
Mhm.
so I barely have time for mobility, and I also know like I tend to look into the eyes of the people a lot in the coaching, because like if you're coaching in a personal training or in a group setting, people will never tell you, oh, this exercise was way too soft, like the
Uh-huh.
weight was not high enough, or like I could easily add 10 reps. Like maybe
Uh-huh.
somebody that trains with you a little bit longer could tell you that, but like somebody that doesn't you don't know that well would probably not tell you. So I tend to look into the eyes of the people a lot, and as I think I have the feeling with their facial expression, I can really see how they feel at the moment. And my experience was from mobility, they like, well, wow, this is boring. So maybe that's why from personal experience,
Yeah.
I just like I implement mobility into the workouts. Like that's why I say squats, ass to the grass, go down. And
Yeah.
it's like it's kind of it's the same result. But I
Yeah.
mean it's probably just like however you like it.
Yeah, no, it's how I like to implement it. Like for example, part of warm-ups, like of course, I don't tell the clients that now we are working on mobility because they probably don't even know about it. But it's we do just the body weight squats as a warm-up, and then in the end, like couple last repetitions, you go as deep as you can. And then,
Oh,
like for hip mobility, you do split stance squats from left to right. So you work on your hip mobility. It's at the same time it's a warm up, great exercise to activate your glutes and quads, and at the same time you work on your hip mobility. So it's not that I'm telling like that now we do mobility. Like at some point, like we might focus on what I have seen that many, especially women, struggle with wrist mobility. So we do wrist mobility exercise that could be dedicated workout, or some shoulder mobility exercises. So those are then maybe after workout, but especially in the beginning, like it's kind of, I love to implement those as a part of warm-up, doing them just the way that you get at least some mobility. I'm not taking 15 minutes just doing just a mobility workout, but within that 5 minutes, implementing, choosing exercises so you get kind of both warm-up and a mobility at the same time. So that's kind of my approach in especially group sessions, but that is so hard always to find like what is working the best, and how to kind of, so many things you want to do so many things, but you can't do everything within so short time. But to get at least a little bit, that is what I find that have helped, like even without knowing actually what they are doing. But then when you get the feedback, like you mentioned earlier, that you don't have back pain anymore, and because it might come from a hips. So when you have worked without knowing it, from your hip mobility, so training is doing good, you get some kind of outcome. So that's the only goal what you are, and I think it's not that there's no right and wrong way to do it. It's just different ways to get the same goal.
Absolutely. Yeah, I heard a really good sentence to that in the coaching area. Like, you have to argue every of your exercises, and if you do this exercise in your workout and you can argue like, I did it because of this and this, and it's like really it stands for that, okay, it's good. And I think that's a really important point. Like, I also do like the mobility a little bit in the warm-up, and obviously I work a lot in the group settings, so I know I have the same clients almost every week. So I'm like, okay, this client has a problem with this, this, and this. So I try to implement it in the warm-up already. Okay, some exercise for that, some exercise for here. I try to avoid this because this client.
I lost you. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Good. Thank you, Alan. If you mind sharing a little bit where to contact you, if somebody want to work with you, where to find you, social media, anything, feel free.
So at the moment, I think my main point is my coaching license. It's a basic coaching license and advanced coaching coaching classes. You can contact me on my website, alainkohl.at, or just on Instagram, Alain Kohl, or Facebook.
All right. I will put those to show notes, and thank you
very
so
much
for coming and having this conversation again.
Thanks for the invitation. It was really nice to have it.
Hold up, friend. Do you love Fit Me to a Fitness podcast? If so, the best way to say thank you is to subscribe to the podcast and leave a review on iTunes. I know every podcaster wants you to leave a review, but it's because those reviews help the podcast to reach more people. I truly want to know what you think, and if this particular episode resonated with you, would you also please share it? Either send a link to someone who you think will find it valuable, or take a screenshot and post it into your social media and tell your friends and family why they should listen it. Make sure you tag me so I can hear your feedback and give you a little love. And if you aren't already following me on Instagram or TikTok, that's the perfect time to hit that follow button. Thank you for being here and listening to Fit Me to a Fitness podcast.